Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Mycorrhiza. I really do want to apologize for putting this game in the back burner for quite some time. I was distracted on other stuff. Anyway, in the last part, I think we woke up in the city, if I remember correctly, and we found this strange town. And I'm trying to remember everything correctly. We talked to a random chick, and we tried to contact our friends, which we failed. And now we are at a doctor's house, and we were close to seeing what was in the basement that I'm guessing his wife had. But anyway, let's get right on into it. Do you want something to drink? No thanks. Frederick hastily grunted and led me down to the hallway. I only wanted to use the phone to get out. Everything that happened today had me on edge. But what if I still couldn't reach anyone? Where would I go? I was balancing a fine line between hope and despair. The phone call would topple me in either direction. All right, here you are. The phone seemed rather old-fashioned. Oh, is it that one phone from That's Not My Neighbor? That one that you have to spin it over? But at least it had buttons instead of rotary dial. I picked up the receiver and tried a number. Yeah, I probably bet you nobody's going to pick up. Am I doing something wrong? There's no dial tone. Huh? Let me see. Looked at the receiver from my hand and pressed a few buttons. He let out a disappointed sigh. Ah! Not again. Those damn rodents keep getting to my cable. What? I'll go take a look at it. Feel free to make yourself at home. In case you get thirsty. He fetched a small bottle of soda from the kitchen and gave it to me and went into the basement. It seemed like I would be able to leave quite so soon. Once I held a drink in my hand, I started to get thirsty. Stay thirsty and wait, take a look around. I took a sip and... You know, I kind of want to see what's going on in that basement, so... Oh, okay. Let's check the study. Honestly, entering Frederick's studies felt like a crossing a line. After all, he invited me into his house and was trying to help me. But my curiosity overwhelmed me. He said, and I quote, make yourself at home. So technically, this is our home. I was wondering what that thing Sabrina's basement was, and maybe I could find an answer to it. I took a look at the table and see what he was working on. I flipped over a picture frame and opened a journal that grabbed my attention. I decided to take a sneak peek at the picture and was surprised to find a photograph of Sabrina and Frederick. They look older in the picture that I have seen at Sabrina's place. A deception dam in a park. As they were having a picnic. A canvas was set up nearby. Why was this lying around face down? Perhaps he hasn't had time to hang it up yet. My headphones are squeezing my head. Also, it's like 90 something degrees outside. So I'm going to try. I got a fan blowing right now, but I turned my attention to the journal. His writing was messy, but I would probably be able to decipher it was some effort. What should I do? Read, take the book, leave the book open. I thought that was a game. Okay, read. I decided against taking the journal. Reading it was bad enough, but it was lesser evil. I have a feeling that the other people have found out what the plants can be used for. What? They must be developing their own pets in secret. What? I have to keep growing my own and hope that I'm faster, better than they are. I should be okay as long as I avoid leaving anything of mine at someone's home. They can only do something to me if they have my scent, after all. See, I set the journal back down. Now I knew that he was a fantasy writer. That's the only way I could explain what this was about. I cannot remember the last part if there was a cage. I feel like there was a cage. Especially terrifying sketches that accompanied the text were some straight out of horror fiction, and also my mask is squeezing my head. Without winning my attention, I made my way back to the telephone. Hey, how you doing? All right, it's all done. I jumped. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. No, it's fine. Good thing he didn't catch me snooping around. The phone should be working now. Feel free to give it a try. I'll give you some space. Call me when you're done. He took the bottle I had drunk from earlier and left through the hallway. Did I finish drinking that? I had an odd sense of deja vu. I shook it off and started dialing some numbers. They were the same I already tried on May's mobile phone. Once again, they failed to connect. How could this be? I was 100% certain that they were correct. I tried all the numbers of my friends, family, even work colleagues I could think of until finally. Yes? Hello? It was a woman's voice that I didn't recognize. I was certain I dialed a number of one of my colleagues. Excuse me, is this Tom's telephone number? I don't know who that is. Are you another scammer call? Don't call me again! She hung up. Alright, something was definitely wrong here. It might be easier to talk to Frederick and see if he could help me somehow. Maybe he had a clue to what I could get back home. I creeped down the hallway. He went this way, right? I began to hear some murmuring, and a steady chill ran down my back. The sound was coming from the basement. An old floorboard squeaking beneath my toes. I saw flickers of a weak light coming from down the stairs. I took them gently as I could, as I held my hand over my mouth to quiet my breath. I reached to the bottom and turned to the corn. Frederick kneeled before a big cage, a small lamp next to him. He held something up to the bars. My nose is itchy. He hissed to whatever was inside. Yes, I have the scent now, don't you? Oh, you have the scent now, don't you? Frederick, you are not looking really good. We must take care of this one tonight. He's curious. He will find a secret much faster than the others. No. We can't have him make something like you two. It kills or to be killed in this town. My stomach dropped from underneath me as I heard the horrible scraping from inside the cage. Frederick, you look really... I took a step back, bumping into the wall. We fucked up. The sudden flood of light blinded me for a moment. Once my eyes adjusted, the first thing I saw was it. Oh, what the fuck is that? Don't get me wrong, that looks cool. That's that plant I died to! What the is this supposed to be a rat? Frederick was screaming at me, but I could barely think about him. Oh, you look really upset, Frederick. I couldn't look away from that creature. It was crawling inside a dirty cage that seemed to be too small for it. It had features of a dog, but it could also seem elements that were definitely human-like. Okay, I really gotta say, the art style just completely reminds me of Junji Ito. Its mouth was way too big. It looks like it has 2 mouths. Maybe 3. Frederick, can you just go away? Just go. Just get out of here. And inside was filled with seemed to be random sets of teeth, or at least something that resembled teeth. Worst of all, there were the numerous, enormous eyes staring right back at me. Frederick fumbled with the lock onto the cage. My feet finally began to move. I ran out of the house into the streets. All the while, one thing was frantically running through my head. I had to get out. I had to get away from this damn town. With this, I thought clouding my mind. I had realized that I had exited the town already. I was now in the big grassy plain. I get a bad gut feeling we're going to be chased by that thing because, okay, Frederick did say that it had the scent. But what scent was it? Was it our scent or Frederick's scent? Breathing heavily and sweaty, and with fear flooding my mind, I had almost not noticed how heavy my legs had become. Soon I was struggling to stay on my feet, and my vision slowly darkened from exhaustion and pain, or panic. I wanted to look back to see how close the monster was, but I was too afraid of seeing it right behind me. I gathered my courage and quickly glanced behind me, and to my surprise, the thing wasn't following me. Excuse me. I didn't know if it ever followed me from the first place. Cat hair in my mask. But it seemed like Frederick wanted to send it after me to kill me. How much you want to... I get a gut feeling that it's probably killed Frederick. Realizing that I was safe for now, I stopped. My legs were numb and almost giving in, but I managed to keep standing. I couldn't believe that I had just seen. It could have been real. Every inch of my body repels at the idea of such a monster exist. But I had seen it with my own two eyes. I continued on a slower pace this time, and soon came to a small but quiet flowing river. It wasn't a good night to get my clothes wet, but it looked small enough for me to jump over with a running start. I wasn't an athletic type, but I managed to leap over the gap. Okay, the one thing I think what we should do is, one, we should have probably put our feet into the water. Because if I remember, I'm not going to say this is 100% correct, but if you manage to put, I'm guessing if you're getting chased like a dog or something, if you were to, I think it was like one of the ways to have a creature lose your scent. It's like go into water. Because apparently it loses your scent once you get into the water. But also, what was it? Since it was a dog, I remember seeing this video of a guy breaking out of prison and he'd put pepper inside of his socks so that the dogs had a more difficult time picking up his scent. A wave of a figure came over me. It was as if I stepped into the veil. The air had gotten heavier and my breathing became more ragged. I clutched my chest and tried to figure out what was going on. A throbbing pain pulsed through my back. It was as if something had stabbed me. My feet gave in and a vision darkened. I could feel I could feel a presence near me. The monster? Frederick? Before I could find out, my conscience faded. Oh. Did I seriously just complete that story? Was that it? No way. Huh? Do I want to continue on to another story, or do I just want to let's go ahead and start with okay. A guide to a funny face. Yeah, that definitely looks like an art of Junji Ito. Oh, hey, there's that dog thing that I saw. I should awake, panting heavily, my clothes sticking to my skin due to all the sweat. My eyes darted around the room, but everything was quieted. I seemed to be safe. A nightmare. Seems like I just had a nightmare. There was something, some kind of animal or monster. And there was some eerie plant. I had forgotten morsel of the dream, but I knew must have been terrifying. The plushing pain in my head slowly subsides. I took a deep breath and keep mumbling to myself that it had to have been a dream, nothing more. After calming down, I decided to take another look around the house. The fact that there was no one here, even though the lights were on, was still nagging in the back of my head. I looked out the window, confirmed that it was still night. I had either slept for a whole day or only a few hours. Okay, I feel like either A, if you've slept through the whole day, I feel like your body clock is really fucked up because I think there was only one time I've ever slept through a whole day, and that was because I was really sick. I think I had like a major, no, it wasn't a sinus, it was a chest cold. Sorry, microphone. It was a major chest cold that I had, and the only time I ever woke up was to drink water, go to the bathroom, and take my medicine. And I was sick for like a whole week straight. I was just spitting mucus and all that fun stuff. Consider how tired I felt. It must have been later. Later? I left the bathroom to retry the doors. Or I left the bedroom to retry the doors just in case. They were still locked. I really wanted to go home and take a shower. I smelled my clothes and they indeed had started to smell slightly sour. This place seemed to have nothing left to offer. I'd be better off in the streets, even if it was still dark. All I needed to do was find the police station. They'd definitely be able to help me. As I wandered around, I grew more and more aware of how big this town was. The buildings were tall and natural. It was rather scary. The streets, however, were completely empty. Okay, that is a major problem. Because in a big city, at least there would be people wandering around. Suddenly, my ears began to pick up the subtle sound of laughter. The sound turned to unease in my empty stomach. It was awfully late for such a public crowd. There wasn't cheering or rounds of applause, just laughter, loud and obnoxious laughter. That didn't seem to subside or grow. It became louder as I approached the town center. Soon it turned to a wave of commotions by the sounds of to be a massive crowd. They just laughed and laughed and kept laughing. The sounded dreadful. I was tempted to change course and avoid them. Yet this direction was my best bet to find an inn or police station. These priorities outweighed my sense of danger. I pressed on. The laughter belonged to hundreds of voices until finally I could glimpse the source of the commotion. The crowd gathered around a performer who was doing something to make them laugh. I strained to see the actions peeking through the small gaps between the people while keeping a safe distance. The group was too dense. I couldn't see any details. Curiously overwhelmed, I started to push through the people. They seemed to melt away without paying much attention. As I approached, I passed a table with a book. I couldn't make out what the title, but it seemed to be that it resembled a mask on the cover. Paying no mind, I pressed onward. I couldn't understand what was happening. The performance wasn't making any sense. I couldn't make any movement from beyond the crowd either. What was so entertaining? I finally reached the front. Okay. This is gonna be the end of this part of Mycorrhiza. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. Also subscribe for more of micro the game that I'm playing. I might have pronounced it right the first time. I do apologize. But if you guys like this video, hit that like button. And also subscribe for more videos like this and other videos that I have lined up in the future. Anyway, hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.